Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pro Body Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Melissa Prochuk, and this is my husband, Janos Prochuk. And we're very excited about today's episode because if you follow us on socials, yesterday we promoted our Pro Baby Lifestyle Pregnancy Strength Training Program. And I have been so excited to put this out there. I know Janos as well, but I have been wanting to do a program like this before we even thought about having kids because it's such an area that is needed for women in this space. And we're just so excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. We just last week crossed our halfway mark. We had our 20-week scan.
Oh, let me show you my belly if you're watching.
Yeah.
Wait.
Check it out.
Look
Just
at this.
the last few weeks, if you guys are seeing it, it's starting to pop out a lot. The last few weeks, her belly has just been growing insane. Like I feel like I see her every time she's in the gym here training, and then it's just bigger again and again and again.
I didn't expect to be so obsessed with my belly. I think as a female, we all have in our brain to like suck in at all times and be as slim as possible. And I have enjoyed pushing this belly out and just embracing everything that pregnancy's brought me. I must say though, I have had a fantastic pregnancy so far and I feel very blessed where I know a lot of women experience really hard symptoms. Oh, sorry, I'm actually puffed out from standing up just then. I have to catch my breath.
Well, I think one of the things though is that Mel, if you know Mel, actually doesn't have a very good gag reflex or like barely ever vomits ever in her life. So in the first trimester, she actually was feeling very nauseous. And a lot of nausea, but I think the reason that you didn't vomit is because you're just like not capable of it.
No, it's because I tell myself I refuse to.
Yeah,
I'm like, ew.
She hates vomiting so much that
I
she just
can't
won't.
vomit. I can, but like I choose not to vomit, but I also choose not to burp. Like I don't even know how to burp and people think that's really weird.
It's not that she chooses not to, she just
I really don't know
genuinely
how.
can't.
Not joking. So I think that's why I've had a really good pregnancy. But we all know, like for me personally, like strength training for me and my own personal journey is so important in my life. And the journey of strength training in most females' life, it usually starts with wanting to look a certain way, wanting to lose weight, wanting to have that nice toned look. Like there is nothing wrong with starting that way. And I love that goal. But what I love watching women go through and where I'm at currently is switching from the physique and like looking at those goals only and looking at strength training about how you feel. And before we even fell pregnant, I, over the last few years, have just enjoyed strength training to get stronger, to have more energy, to feel healthy and energized at all times. And it set me up to really have such an incredible pregnancy journey now. And that's why I didn't want to stop training throughout pregnancy because it is such a big part of my life. And I'm not training right now to prove to anyone that I can do it. I'm not doing it to look a certain way. I'm doing it because of all the benefits that strength training bring women if they train throughout pregnancy or if they're able to train throughout pregnancy.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that a lot of people, they first get into exercise thinking it's just purely about the looks. Like, let me just do this to lose the weight so I can look better. Or let me do this so I can build muscle so that I can look better. But I love that like strength training has so many more benefits beyond that for just your cardiometabolic health and just your health in general. And then when we're talking about pregnancy, which we're talking about today, all the clients that we've trained over the years who've been pregnant, it's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize that exercise, strength training, it's one of the things that helps you to have a better pregnancy, to feel better and to actually have better outcomes throughout pregnancy. But I loved what you said the other week about training, where it's no longer about coming into the gym and training to see the weight loss happen or to see the muscle growth happen. It's like now the reason that you're coming into the gym to train is for the feeling that you get from the training, for feeling better, for feeling less tightness through your upper back and everything. And it's really the mindset that everyone needs to get to have a long-term mindset with your exercise and your nutrition, is that you're not doing it just to lose the weight or just to build the muscle.
Yeah.
Like even if you had no weight loss happen, even if you had no muscle growth happen, there is so many more benefits to doing the workout. Even if you just look at, oh, it just simply makes me feel better for that day. Or it makes me feel a little bit less tight. Or when you're relating to pregnancy, we'll go through a few of the benefits that it can bring you through pregnancy as well.
Yeah, no, I love those points. And Janusz and I discuss quite often how, even before I fell pregnant, how interesting it is that society encourages women not to train throughout pregnancy when it's one of the biggest physical changes we as women will go through in our lives in such a short period of time. In the last 20 weeks, my uterus has gone from a tiny little pod to all the way up above my belly button, which I learned yesterday from my OB. And all the changes that I'm going through as my center of gravity is shifting forward with not only my big belly, but also my chest, which is very new to me. I've had to buy bras for the first time. It's a very overwhelming experience. And everything shifting forward, if I'm not strengthening my body and adapting to these changes, then of course I'm going to feel aches and pains throughout pregnancy. So I love that we discuss how, people train for marathons, people train for high rocks, etc. Why aren't we training for birth and all the changes that are about to come with my body especially?
Yeah, I love that point. Like, it's like you will train for a marathon, you'll train for high rocks, all these events that you'll have in your life, where the biggest event you'll go through in your life, arguably, well, not even arguably, like the biggest event physically you'll go through in your life if you're a female is giving birth. And it just amazes me that there's so many people who are against training during pregnancy, or they might be fearful about it. And obviously there's ways, and that's why we're creating this program, is to have ways that are based on evidence to help you girls to train throughout pregnancy in a fearless way, because you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to me that people will be like, okay, you know what? I'm about to go through the biggest physical event I'll ever go through in my life, and I'm not going to train for it. And it's like, it just doesn't make sense. Like when you're having long labors, like some people have, 1 day, 2 day, sometimes 3 day labors.
Yeah.
And it's like, you need a lot of endurance for that. You need a lot of strength for that. You need a lot of, and it's not just about your pelvic floor. It's a whole body experience. Like anyone who's given birth will know that. I don't know that. because I've not given birth.
But you have learnt so much, Janusz. But it's also not just the endurance of you as a female. It's the endurance of your baby being able to cope with the stress of labor as well. A lot of the time in birth, your baby's heart rate can decrease or increase. And a lot of the time it's because your baby doesn't have the capacity to withstand all the pressures of what your body is going through, and especially the stress your body is under. And strength training really helps that. And I know that a lot of women feel fearful. We're going to go through a lot of the fears that women have today with training and try to debunk a lot of these myths for you. But the reason that a lot of people have fear is because women, as soon as they fall pregnant, we're told what we can't do. So we can't eat certain things, we can't lay down in certain positions, etc. But we're not told what we can do. And the reason that we both wanted to create this program is because I hate that women feel fearful around something that they truly love. Now, if you don't like strength training, you've never strength trained in your life, you actually can still strength train throughout pregnancy. But if you don't want to, then this isn't for you, and that is completely fine. We're not telling you to do this. But if you...
Although, listen up, because there is a lot of benefits.
We're hoping by the end of this episode, you're like, maybe I should, because there are so many benefits, but we don't want to come across as this is the only way you should go through pregnancy, because some of my friends have fantastic pregnancies without getting up at all, and that is completely fine. However, my philosophy for life always is I want to prepare always for things ahead. So I strength train not just to look a certain way, I'm also strength training outside of pregnancy for longevity. I'm training for my 80-year-old self. I'm already preparing for that time instead of getting to 50, 60 years old and going, I better start focusing on my health. I'm doing that now. So the reason I'm strength training and want women to strength train throughout their pregnancy is because I want you to be able to move your body and be able to move at 40 weeks. I want you to be able to handle the labor that is destined for you. I also want you to be able to have a great postpartum experience, but also come back from that experience and feel strong and able to get back to your strongest self again. Like a lot of women just think, I'm going to take a few years off because you can't train through pregnancy. My body's going through such a big change. But that's when you really, it's kind of like putting down how strong our female body is. Think about it. I'm growing a human as we're doing this podcast. I'm growing a human. Like it's mental to think how quickly this is happening, and I'm not doing anything. So if my body can do that, my body is so capable of going through strength training throughout this season as well, but obviously guided, obviously with adaptations and safely taking you through it as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we've created this program. Like we've trained we've probably trained between us maybe 15, maybe 20 females through pregnancy.
Yep.
both people who were infertile to help them become fertile, and then also people who, were very high risk pregnancies where they couldn't train, and then in second pregnancies have been able to train.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how, you can give birth without training, without doing anything. But why would you not do the things that make you feel the best? And the difference is, like, a lot of people think strength training for pregnancy and they're thinking super intense training, and they forget that, okay, well, what we do for our clients is we give them specific tailored programs for them and where they're at in their pregnancy, so that it is built to your level, so that you come away from your workouts actually feeling better than when you went into them. So that, for example, if you've got a lot of backaches or a lot of pain, after you do some targeted exercises for your upper back, it helps to reduce that kind of upper back pain that a lot of people have as their breasts start to get bigger.
Well, in first trimester, I would say I only trained maybe 2, max 3, depending on, like, 3 times a week, depending on the week that I was in. First trimester is hard. Everyone navigates it differently. I was truly exhausted. I would come in here and I would try to train, and I do a very limited workout, but I found, because I was napping more, obviously because you nap a lot in the first trimester for me personally, my back was so sore because I had reduced my training load, but my body was growing and my naps and resting had increased. And it really sent me into a spiral of so much pain. So that's why in the second trimester, like, I felt so good because I have just had the goal of just feeling amazing. I actually had friends the other day ask me who have been pregnant. They're like, oh, you must be feeling that pelvic girdle pain right now. And I'm like, nah. And it's not me to be like, nope, I'm awesome. It's like I genuinely have not felt any pains or anything. And this could just be because of who I am. I don't know this, but I truly put it down to the training that I did pre-pregnancy and also throughout my pregnancy now. I also put it down to doing specific stretching and mobility through pregnancy as well so far. And I'm just disciplined to do these things. And I have not felt any pains and aches. I have truly loved pregnancy so far. And I know I'm only halfway, but I truly think I'm going to have an incredible pregnancy due to all of this.
Yeah, and part of it as well is the preparation before you fall pregnant too.
Yes.
So don't feel like if you are not pregnant yet that you have to wait to exercise when you fall pregnant, because all of these benefits, like, you will never be worse off by being fitter and stronger.
Yeah.
Like, there are some people who are like, oh, but I did exercise throughout my pregnancy and I still had tons of pelvic girdle pain.
Yes.
I still had tons of upper back pain and all these aches and pains. And it's like, okay, yes, but imagine how much more it could have been if you weren't exercising.
Yes.
So I always tell people that you'll never be worse off by getting fitter, by getting stronger, by improving your health and fitness. Like, you'll only ever be better off. And like we're talking about with labors, like, yeah, there's some people out there who have easy labors and they did nothing throughout pregnancy. But then it's like, how much easier would their labor have been if they were fitter and stronger than what they were?
Exactly. And I'm actually currently training, like, obviously I train my clients who aren't in pregnancy right now. That's my normal clients. And I've about 9 to 10 women who are wanting to fall pregnant within the next 6 months to a year. And we're already talking about it together. Certain exercises we're focusing on, the plan ahead, their nutrition, etc. Trying to get them in the mental space to be ready for that, but also in the best possible physical kind of area that they can be in to go into pregnancy. And it's all about that pre-training going into it. Like, we are in pre-season, then we're in pregnancy season, then we're in postpartum season. The fact that females go through such different transitions in their life is truly miraculous. And that's why I want to make sure that there's a program for every season that we go through. Otherwise, what are we supposed to do for 9 months? Just sit down and do nothing? Like, that just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the clients who we've worked with who have been pregnant, like, they've absolutely loved having somebody in their back pocket that they can reach out to 24/7 with any questions, concerns they might have. Like, they've obviously got their doctors, their obstetricians, their health professionals, but then they come away from, because a lot of those meetings will focus more on your pregnancy and more on your actual birth and the symptoms you're going through.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the time they quite simply, they don't have the expertise to then relate it to what you should do in the gym or what you should do with your exercise.
Exactly.
And so then that's where they will walk away from those meetings being like, oh, hey, I just saw my OB yesterday. They've said this. These are the symptoms I'm going through. And then they'll ask us what they need to adjust based on those symptoms. So, for example, with you, when you had the extra fatigue, you didn't just do nothing. We adjusted things to be able to navigate that fatigue. Then if you feel amazing, then same thing. We adjust things in the program to adjust to how you're feeling, to be able to tailor the exercise to how you're going in all those appointments. And just, I think one thing that a lot of people forget is that every woman's body is different and every pregnancy is different. Even among, like, for example, our sister-in-law, she had 2 babies. First pregnancy, completely different to the second pregnancy.
Births.
And so
Yes.
just remembering that every pregnancy is different, and that's the benefit of having like a program specifically built to help you through what to do in the gym, but then also having a coach who's there 24/7 answering your questions and able to adjust that program to how you're feeling.
Exactly right. I think this is a season where you shouldn't have to do this alone. And I think community is the most important part of pregnancy. Like, I know so much about training through pregnancy and all the things. However, there is so much about motherhood and pregnancy I still don't know that outside of the gym that I will talk to my mother friends about, talk to my OB about, talk to people that I truly trust to give me proper feedback about. And that's what I hope to be for all the clients that I take through pregnancy, because if they have fears when they're in the gym of going, oh, should I be doing this exercise? Oh, I felt this certain pain. Should I feel this? How should I breathe through each rep? How heavy should I even lift? Those questions can become so consuming that can really derail you to not train. And I totally understand that. And that's why this program has been created. Like, trimester by trimester, you are taken through day 1 to week 40 of your pregnancy and beyond. And we want to make sure that you feel supported, you feel educated, but you also feel strong throughout your pregnancy. I'd also like to add that through my fatigue in trimester 1, I finished my certifications. Like, I've always, I've trained a lot of women, but I wanted to make sure there was extra certifications on top. And I did my prenatal training certification through my first trimester. And I must say, it was hard being fatigued and learning, but it was so beneficial because I wanted to make sure that through my whole pregnancy, I've been building this program, and it's taken everything out of me. And I'm so excited to have it out there now, and to be so excited to other women to experience it, because for the last 20 weeks, I've been testing it out myself, changing things around, making sure that clients feel great. And throughout my entire pregnancy, I'll probably still change a few things as I'm ahead of everyone. But I want to make sure that you know that you are supported through this, because I'm actually going through the exact same things that you are.
I think there's something to it about studying something as you're going through it as well.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, I did my exercise physiology degree years ago, and I went through a lot of the research in pregnancy. I remember I had a lot of pregnancy clients at the time as well, so I really delved into it above and beyond to learn more about it. But it's just funny that because you're in the season of actually being pregnant, it made you soak up that information so much more, because it mattered so much more to you, that you could take everything you were learning and implement it straight away into your very own pregnancy.
100%.
And then you're experiencing it, so you're able to adjust it as you go. And so it's really cool watching you with your current clients that you have that are pregnant.
Yeah.
Mel's got this really cool connection with them because she's helping them with their training, their nutrition, everything throughout pregnancy right now. But I love that Mel's doing it side by side with them, so that whenever they're catching up on the phone, they're having their check-in calls, like I can just hear them from the other room.
Yeah, we're felt that symptom too. Like, it's just so funny, and I absolutely love it. It's such a nice journey to go through together.
But it just means you're walking the talk.
100%.
Right?
But that's why it's so important to me.
You're able to relate to them because you're going through the fatigue.
Yeah.
You're going through the struggles as well.
I've had people, and this is nothing against anyone that's ever said this to me. They'd be like, when they see me training in this pregnancy, they're like, oh, should you be doing that after we had a miscarriage last year? But that's a fear I want to talk about today as well. A big fear that women feel, and I totally understand this, is women feel that training through pregnancy is going to cause them harm or their baby harm and cause miscarriage. And I need to tell you that a proper strength program does not cause miscarriage if you are guided correctly. And I am so passionate about it, especially because I have been through miscarriage. That is why I went so hard into research for this and making sure that everything is exactly perfect, because I'm also going through this. This is my second pregnancy, and I want to make sure that everything is perfect to ensure that you all feel safe throughout your pregnancy and you never second guess yourself. I think that's a big thing too, is women second guess themselves, and then they go after every workout, they're like, oh, should I have done that? Oh, let's hope for the best. Let's just see what happens at the next scan. I never want you to feel that. You should feel confident throughout the entire 9 months.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things too where people forget that a lot of miscarriages happen and they're completely out of your control.
Yeah.
Majority of them, especially in that first 12 weeks, it's because of genetic abnormalities.
Yes.
Where the DNA from the sperm and the egg just doesn't match up in a way that creates a viable baby.
Yes.
And so it's nothing that you did wrong that caused that miscarriage.
Yeah.
And if anything, especially for later term miscarriages, like training and exercise is actually protective, beyond like, unless you actually get hit in your stomach or anything like that, then there are things that you should avoid, and that's what we go through in the course.
Yes.
But apart from that, like training and exercise is actually beneficial if you do it in the right way for your baby's health and for your health. Because I think a lot of people forget that as the female, you are fully connected to your baby, and your baby actually goes through everything you're going through. So the emotions you're feeling, the baby's kind of going through that as well. The stress
what
in
is
the
that
bloodstream,
noise?
that's just the doorbell.
Oh, sorry guys. The doorbell's ringing. Janos, do you want to go stop that?
Yeah, I should go do that.
Sorry guys, little hiccup here. The doorbell's ringing. Oh, it stopped. Don't worry, Melissa's still here. Janos is going to go turn it off. I thought before we get into everything, like the benefits around training through pregnancy, I always want to list what fears you may be feeling. So if there's a fear that I have not listed here, please let us know, because I would love to help debunk that and help you through that. But a lot of the time, it's usually lifting weights will cause harm to you or the baby, and I totally understand that. You may have been sick through your whole first trimester, so you think, oh, there's no point starting in my second trimester now. I haven't trained for 12 weeks. So wrong, and I hope that we can really debunk that for you. People still believe that you can't get your heart rate up in pregnancy. So a lot of research has changed over many years now, and we're still sitting in that old mindset and mentality that our parents may be talking to us about. So even doctors who haven't looked into this research in many years still tell you these things, and things have changed so dramatically in the last 10 to 15 years. So it's very important to know that.
Yeah, and you got to remember with some of these things too, like, what do you think happens in labor? Like, your heart rate goes crazy.
Yeah, we're not calm
And
in
so-
labor.
Yeah, no, and so that's where you just have to remember that, again, you're connected to your baby physically.
Yes.
So when you're exercising, when you're training, your baby is also exercising and training through the connection that you guys have.
Yes.
And so that's where you're actually helping pump those exercise hormones into the baby. You're helping reduce the cortisol that's in your bloodstream, which is the stress hormone that the baby's experiencing. So by exercising, you're reducing that. And then by exercising and raising your heart rate and doing those types of things, the baby is also kind of experiencing those changes from the exercise, the stress added from the exercise. And so it's actually training your baby in a way for labor where you're going to have a high blood pressure, you're going to have a high heart rate, you're going to be experiencing very much stress in the body and just like a lot of fatigue through it.
And remember, your baby can feel, like, especially this phase I'm in at 20 weeks, your baby can feel everything you're feeling, your stress. It can hear you. I am constantly, as I'm training, every breath I'm taking. So what's actually a good thing too is we teach you in this program to breathe properly through each exercise. That is good training for your labor as well, to learn how to breathe properly. But every breath and everything that I'm saying to our baby throughout all of this is me talking to it and me going, like, talking life into our child, talking strength into our child through every rep that I'm going through, etc., and preparing them to be also ready for birth. Like, I'm not doing this alone. We're a team here.
Yeah.
So that's another fear that I really wanted to make sure people knew about.
I love that point about the breathing, like learning how to breathe through muscle contractions.
So important.
Because I think a lot of people forget that muscle contractions, it's similar to what's happening in labor. Because the labor contractions are muscle contractions. It's your muscles preparing to push out the baby. They're contracting. And so learning how to breathe through that and just practice those exercise techniques and those breathing techniques throughout your pregnancy journey. If you practice it more and more and more, you can do them better towards the end versus if you're like, okay, last week, let's practice now to get ready for labor.
100%. It's a no from us. Another fear that women have is they can't lie flat in pregnancy, or there's a particular time they have to stop lying flat, otherwise they may injure their baby. It's also a myth, and we teach you through this as well. We can talk about that in this episode as well. Like I said before, exercise might cause a miscarriage. That might be a belief that you have. You're not sure what's safe to do. You should just rest as you're growing your human. 100%. I totally get that. There are actual days that I choose to rest. I'm not being silly. Like my mum, love you, mum. My mum will message me whenever I put a story up that I'm training. She's like, I think you should just rest for today. Like, just rest. That's okay. And I understand that. That comes out of love. That comes out of like, hey, just rest. Like, you're doing a lot. But what I like to always talk back is like, and say things is like, educating people on the importance of coming in here, training is actually doing more benefits for me sometimes than resting. And I will rest when I need to, but it's also understanding the barrier between, am I just being lazy or do I actually need to rest? And it's just knowing yourself as well. But that's something I help my clients with too. I didn't train before pregnancy, so I can't start now is also another lie that a lot of women believe. And it used to be research that a lot of people believed, but it's changed in the last 10 to 15 years as well.
Yeah, there is no perfect time.
No.
The perfect time is today.
It's about learning how to train in your capacity, where you're currently at, and that's what we help you with.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes people get the advice of, oh, if you were training before pregnancy, you can keep training after. But if you weren't training, then just keep going and don't train.
Yeah.
And that's horrible advice as well. And it's completely against, by the way, all of the research for pregnancy and training as well.
Yeah, it's like saying...
What it does mean, sorry to cut you off,
I cut you off.
If you haven't been exercising, it means start from zero and slowly build. So don't go from doing nothing to suddenly being like, all right, now I'm a gym junkie. I'm going to be lifting tons of weight.
It's like saying, I want to do a marathon this year, and then going, sorry, you've never ran before. You can't do a marathon. No, you start training for it and you start at a small capacity and you build yourself up.
You've fallen pregnant. You now have to do a marathon in 9 months' time.
100%. Like, you can't think your way through this one.
Either you can just do nothing between now and the marathon and just hope you can, make it through. Or you can be like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's already been 4 months and there's 4 months to go to the marathon. It still is better to start today, to start strengthening yourself for that marathon or the pregnancy, so that you can have the best time on that day. Because if you go into it weak, if you go into it untrained, if you've not prepared yourself, then it's going to be harder. Like, a marathon is always hard, but it's going to be easier if you prepare for it than if you didn't prepare
100%.
for it.
Like, many women may be listening to this right now going, oh, Melissa, but I'm truly excited for birth. I haven't even completely prepared for birth yet, but I know everything that I'm doing every day is building to that goal. And I can't wait, no matter what the circumstance is. I know that I've put all the work in that I could. That's how I felt going into my marathon. I was like, I don't care about the outcome at all. What time I run, nothing. I knew I did all the work that I possibly could do to get there. And whatever the outcome is, amazing, as long as I'm healthy after. It's the same approach that I have for birth. I obviously have my birth preferences and plan that I would love to have. However, I know that I've done all the work to get there. I've strengthened my body. I've really showed myself what I'm capable of, which I think is such a beautiful thing. So whatever the outcome is, as long as I'm healthy and baby's healthy, that's all that matters. But I'm trying to teach my baby already the lessons of being disciplined, because guess what? Training when you're pregnant is the most anti-disciplined time of your life. You do not feel like training already. You don't see any physical benefits of ripped abs or anything like that. You're just getting bigger as you train. So it's actually so demotivating. However, that's why you need to have a different approach and goal with pregnancy training. And that's what I teach all of these clients. It's not about how you look. Of course, we want to make sure that, I genuinely still love to see a few muscles in my arms popping. I'm like, yeah, mum's strong. However, I'm always reminding my clients that you want to be feeling good, you're reducing the aches and pains, etc., and getting yourself ready for a big change that's about to happen in 40 weeks' time.
Yeah, and then it's just remembering that there's a lot of physiological benefits that you can't see physically, but they're happening internally for you and for your baby.
And we will get to those. Let me say 3 more points and then you can start that off.
For it.
The last 3 points of what women fear as well is not knowing how to modify exercises, which I totally understand why it can be very fearful. Your doctor may have told you not to train. So depending though, this is not medical advice. So if your doctor literally has said that you are high risk pregnancy, he or she does not want you to train through pregnancy, that is completely fine. You listen to your doctor. However, a lot of the times they kind of go, oh, maybe just don't do anything right now and see how you go. If you have got a response like that, please come to us and just chat. I'd love to kind of talk about that and give you questions that you can ask your doctor back, just based on that kind of response. Did you have something to say about that?
No, that's what I was going to say. The only reason that you shouldn't train throughout pregnancy is if you are a high-risk pregnancy and you've had a health professional tell you not to train for that time. And it's usually only for the first starting window. So for example, I've had some clients who have done IVF, and for whatever reason, they've had some other health concerns that have made them a high-risk pregnancy, mainly meaning that they didn't have successful pregnancies previously. So they've had some miscarriages, or they've had unsuccessful implantations of the IVF, of the eggs. And so because IVF costs so much money financially, the main thing that they want is they want to implant the egg successfully so that it's not a waste of the finances and the money, and to make sure that implantation happens.
Yes.
But once that happens, often they'll give them the all clear halfway through the pregnancy. So that's exactly what happened with a few of my clients who have done that. And once they get the all clear, they're amazed at how much beneficial how much benefit strength training has
Yeah.
in making them feel good. Because through that first, it was about 13 to 18 weeks while they were waiting, not training, just doing some basic walking and basic exercises. So they can still exercise, it's just not intense exercise.
Yeah.
But what happened is they started to get some aches and pains through the upper back. They were just getting really sore and tight. And then it was funny that the moment that we started doing some face pulls, some back exercises, and just starting light because they hadn't exercised for a few weeks, this was once they got the all clear, immediately they started to get less aches and pains, less pain through the upper back, and just felt so much better straight away. And of course, they don't lose weight, they don't build muscle because it's not for that. It's for feeling good and preparing their body for pregnancy. So yeah, apart from being a high-risk pregnancy and then getting told specifically from your health professional not to train, if it's like, oh, no, don't train because you've been inactive previously, you can go to somebody who's an exercise physiologist or a personal trainer or somebody who's not just a personal trainer, actually a personal trainer who's
certified,
trained, who's
please.
certified in this.
Yes, please.
Like us. And so then that way you can be somebody who's never trained before and then start the exercise journey from a place of nothing.
I love all those points. The last one that you may be fearing is friends and family telling you not to train because they didn't train. And everyone thinks they're an expert. Everyone thinks that they've had the best pregnancy and they know exactly what to do. But do not listen to people who are not certified and don't know, because they may have heard from someone that you shouldn't train throughout pregnancy. Any fears or anything that someone has implanted into your brain that you now believe, please DM us. We're happy to answer them and show you the actual scientific research about why that is actually incorrect. So I know that you can get a lot of pressure from people. You may also feel like, oh, are people going to be looking at me that I'm doing the wrong thing? Because like some people, especially the older generation, will judge. Will be like, oh, just rest. Like the amount of comments now that
they're like, I didn't train and I had perfect pregnancies.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's like saying, oh, well, no, I ran a marathon and I didn't train at all. It's like, yeah, but you could have done it better.
Or the people that come to test
training.
and go, I didn't study, but I did really well. I'm like, yeah, you could have done even better though.
But guys, just do one thing. Pull out your phone, go to whatever AI you want, and just type in what are the benefits of exercise, strength training, cardio training during pregnancy, and watch what will come up. And quite simply, your friend, your family member, they're just wrong. Like they're just wrong. There's that much scientific research out there now about the benefits of exercise that it's wrong to say that it's healthier to not exercise during pregnancy because it's not.
Well, just think about it. Even outside of pregnancy, people will always have opinions based on what you're doing if you're trying to improve yourself. Deep down, without realizing, people are projecting their insecurities. They're like, oh, I didn't do that. You don't have to train throughout pregnancy. You know what I mean? Like it always is happening, whether people know it or not. They think they're, being kind by saying certain things, but it's actually very unkind. Like if you actually do not have the scientific research and the understanding of why people shouldn't be doing something, do not have that opinion. That's my opinion. I can actually give a strong opinion because I know all of this. Yeah. But back in the past, let's say 10 years ago, I wouldn't have an opinion about this because I didn't know about it. I also wasn't in that season, so I didn't really care. So I would probably say things like, oh, you shouldn't be lying on your back. You shouldn't be doing this. Where now I'm like, go lie on your back, go do it. Like I am here to debunk everything. So is Janosch. And we just love to help you through this journey. Now, yes, you could go into ChatGPT and look up all the benefits of training, but I thought we could quickly go through some of the benefits. There's physical benefits, pregnancy benefits, benefits for labor and postpartum. Let's start with the physical benefits of strength training in a gym as you're pregnant. So the first one is you maintain muscle mass and you build it and keep up with the physical demands of pregnancy. Like we said before, your body is going through the biggest change it will ever go through as a female in the shortest amount of time. Like, think about it. You are growing a human that is rapidly growing every single day. You have grown an extra organ to help this baby out. You have extra fluid in your body. Your breast, your belly is shifting forward, which is such a physical demand on your posture. And if you just expect to sit down and relax and not feel any aches, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. You just remember that you're amazing. Like you're growing a baby, you're growing a placenta, like you are doing so much. Yes. And so it's like, that's why you're fatigued. Mm-hmm. Like that's why you're having the aches and pains. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that there's nothing that you can do for it.
Yeah.
Because one of the other things that it does, and I've touched on this already, is that whenever you exercise your muscles, when you flex your muscles, it takes away some of the aches and pains that you're experiencing.
Yes.
Or it reduces them. It may not take them away completely. So As your breasts start to get bigger, as you start to carry a little bit more weight throughout your pregnancy, as your baby's belly or your belly starts to get bigger with your baby, you start to feel a lot more forces pulling you forward,
Yes.
which can cause a lot more tightness through your traps, your upper back, just tightness throughout your body. And that's where strength training specifically, like targeted strength training for those areas, like face pulls, like wide grip seated rows, those types of exercises, they don't have to even be heavy to get these benefits, by the way. Like you can just do 15 reps with a really light weight that doesn't even push you to failure.
Yep.
And just by doing that, like I was talking about with my other client, immediately started to take away and reduce those upper back symptoms, those aches.
It's so important. Like I'm already realizing at 20 weeks, and I would say that I'm quite fit and healthy and strong already, that just getting up off the lounge or twisting from the left side to the right side in bed already to get comfortable is already a heavier load and struggle for me. And I'm already going, thank God I have a bit of strength to push myself to the other side and not be like, oh, Janos, help me up. Like I feel physically capable to do those things. And again, I know I'm only 20 weeks, but that's why if you keep progressing in the gym, and remember, your baby is growing every single week, which is progressive overload already. So if you're training and don't even change your weights, your baby's already challenging you in the best way possible. So if you just keep moving your body, you got to use it, otherwise you lose it.
And it's not that you're exercising for this week or this stage of your pregnancy. Like you're exercising to prepare your body for the very end of pregnancy.
Yes.
Or for postpartum to help you have a faster recovery postpartum.
Yep.
Because I think people forget that a lot of the injury risks that come with pregnancy is because of overload once you start holding this baby and you're doing a lot more exercise than you normally
100%.
do. And so by preparing your upper back muscles, preparing your arms to be able to carry that baby, it actually reduces a few of those injury risks that people have
Yes.
once they give birth. And so being able to do deadlifts, like that's what you have to do as a human.
You're picking up a baby every single day.
Yeah. And one of the things people forget is that a deadlift, it's actually training you to hold a good posture. So a deadlift, it's the weight pulling your body into a hunched over position, pulling you down towards the floor. Where
yes.
whenever you stand up with that weight, and again, it can just be a lightweight, like a kettlebell deadlift to start with if you're just starting off, but you're actually unraveling your body to stand up tall with your
Yes.
shoulders back. So it's training all of those postural muscles to prepare you for as your body starts to change throughout pregnancy, but then it's preparing you for postpartum when you've got all these extra demands of carrying a baby and holding a baby.
Yeah, and you will notice this throughout the program as well, is we have refilmed every single exercise for pregnancy for this program to ensure that you understand why we're doing certain exercises. So Janos just mentioned how important deadlifts are because you are literally picking up a child, not just in those first few weeks, but for the rest of its life until obviously it doesn't want to get picked up anymore. But there are certain exercises that will help with your balance, will help with what side you're holding the baby on constantly with that hip health and strength as well. Like there are so many exercises we have to ensure that we're doing throughout pregnancy to prepare us to be strong in that postpartum period. Another really important physical benefit of training throughout pregnancy is understanding that your body is secreting a hormone now called relaxin, which is allowing your ligaments to stretch, which is a massive benefit because you need your body to be able to stretch to grow this human. However, on the other side, it's actually not good for us because then we're prone to more injuries and pains because our body is able to stretch so much easier. And that's why strength training is so important, to make sure we're more stable and we're stronger to hold those changes as well. And it's really important to remember that. So I always like to tell clients that as well. Another really important thing as well is like having a better tolerance for the shortness of breath. Yes, I have shortness of breath still. However, like I mentioned before, in every exercise that we've refilmed, Janos and I have spoken through every exercise of how to breathe through every rep, how to brace your core properly. And what that's doing is teaching me, especially every time I'm doing an exercise, every rep, how to breathe. And I can truly say that my shortness of breath since training after the first trimester, now being more frequent in the second trimester, I'm finding that my endurance is so much better, and I'm also preparing myself for the demands of labor because you have to know how to breathe through it.
Yeah, learning how to do that pursed lip breathing is important.
Another one as well is, like Janos mentioned, is reducing the aches, pains, and injury risk, which is fantastic. Supporting our changing posture, which I mentioned before. And then let's move on to the pregnancy benefits. So this is real. I love talking about these percentages because so many people on my Instagram story recently when I wrote these were like, I did not know that. And I had this particular health issue throughout my pregnancy. I can't wait for my second pregnancy to make sure I'm actually training. So the first one is if you strength train throughout pregnancy, there's a 39% decreased risk of developing gestational hypertension. So that's an elevated blood pressure throughout your pregnancy. What's funny is every time my midwife, before I go in to see my OB, they do your blood pressure. Every single, like she said yesterday, she goes, how is your blood pressure the exact same every single time that you come in here? I'm like, because I'm a beast. No. But I'm like, I'm not shocked by that. It's not to brag. It's because I am making sure I'm doing the work to work against high blood pressure in pregnancy.
Yeah. And like the way that works is when you exercise, yes, your blood pressure does increase because people are like,
Yes.
oh, but doesn't exercise increase your blood pressure? Like how does it actually decrease it then long term? And I'm like, yeah, because when you exercise, what happens is when you're training, when you're flexing your muscles, temporarily during the workout, your blood pressure does increase to supply more blood to your body, to your organs, to your muscles. But then what happens is because it's pushing more blood through your arteries, it enlarges your arteries and your veins. So then, therefore, throughout the rest of your day, once they've been stretched from doing your workout, you now have bigger arteries and veins, which allows more blood to flow through easier, which then reduces the blood flow of the system. So I like to use the analogy of like a hose. Like if you have a hose, a garden hose, and you're just letting the water come out of it, it comes out kind of slow. But then if you put your thumb over the top of it and you start to make the hole smaller, you'll start to see that it'll come out faster, and that's an increase in pressure for the system. And so the arteries are the exact same. When you take your thumb off and you end up letting the hose be a bigger hole, it then slows down the flow of the blood, of the water flow.
Yeah.
And so our arteries are the exact same, where when we exercise, it makes those arteries and the veins bigger with a bigger hole, so then it can reduce the blood flow throughout the rest of the day.
I love that analogy that you use because it's so easy to understand, blood pressure. Another one is if you strength train throughout pregnancy, there's a 38% decreased risk of developing gestational diabetes, which is something that every woman talks about at that 26 to 28 week mark. They're like, don't want to take that drink, don't want to do that test. Oh no, I should stop having sugar a week before. A lot of the times it comes down to your genetics, but a lot of the time as well, it comes down to your lifestyle as well. Now, I've just had a client who's currently at 15 weeks. She actually developed the genetic gestational diabetes. And at first she was really worried. And I told her, I'm like, no, there's nothing to be worried about. Like you've got your medical professional helping you on this end. However, strength training is going to be the best thing for you throughout this journey. But especially even if you are hoping to reduce the chances of developing this around that 28 week mark, strength training is the best thing that you can do for gestational diabetes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they just don't understand how it works.
Yes.
So when you have the sugar or the glucose build up in the bloodstream, muscles, when they flex, they burn glucose and sugar inside of the muscle. And then they want to fill up the muscle again after the workout by taking it out of the bloodstream.
Yeah.
And so that's where even if you have got a genetic gestational diabetes, or even if you have diabetes, exercise actually helps to reduce the blood sugar levels, because when you train your muscles, when you flex your muscles, it uses the sugar in the muscles. And then the muscles will then take it out of the bloodstream, therefore reducing your blood sugar levels.
Yes.
They also help to reduce or improve your insulin sensitivity, so that they can take that they can take that sugar out of the bloodstream.
No, great points, Janusz. Last one is there's a 41% decreased risk of developing preeclampsia.
What is that?
So preeclampsia, it's insulin resistance that develops due to the hormone of the placenta. Now, it's literally where your organs kind of trying to escape out of your vagina, which is not the best thing, and it can really harm your baby. It can really harm you. I've just had a friend I met up with recently talk to me about the fact that she went into labor. She had to give birth, I think it was 34 weeks, due to preeclampsia that she didn't know she had. So her blood pressure was so high, and it was never picked up as well, so high that she ended up being in hospital to the point where they thought she was going to have a stroke. She had to deliver 6 weeks early. And when I was telling her the percentages, I was like, hey, strength training really helps with this, etc. She's like, I cannot wait for my second pregnancy because I never want to experience that again. She felt a bit robbed of the experience that she really dreamt of. Didn't even have her hospital bag packed or anything like that. And I just think, obviously there are certain times that we aren't Like we're not in control of everything. Of course, there's a 41% decreased risk. However, there's still a massive chance you still can develop it. But wouldn't you want to reduce the risk of experiencing any of these? Like that's all I'm thinking when I'm training. I'm like, I don't want to develop gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, hypertension, etc. But if I was to get it, I know I've done everything in my right mind to be able to reduce those chances.
Yeah. So we know that exercise improves a ton of the metabolic health, and that's kind of what we were just going through. I think what everyone wants to know is what are the actual benefits for labor, like giving birth?
Like I was mentioning before, is a baby's heart rate, a lot of the time when women, for example, are hoping for a vaginal birth, maybe even a natural birth, that where it's unmedicated, and they're going through labor, if it somehow goes over that 24-hour mark, which is very common, a lot of the time, the pressure of a baby being in that position down below in the birth canal, the pressure that baby and the stress that it's going under due to your endurance, it can make the baby's heart rate go up or too low. And usually when that happens, if the doctors can't get that under control, they will send you into C-section, which there is nothing wrong with a C-section if you have ended up in that circumstance. However, if the goal is not a C-section for you and you want to have a vaginal birth, then training throughout pregnancy and building endurance in your breath, in your resistance to stress, your baby will also feel that in pregnancy, in birth. And I just wanted to really put that out there, because that's all I think about is I'm not just training for myself here. I'm training to get my baby prepared for what could be a 48-hour labor. I don't know. It could be a really quick labor. We just don't know. And with the uncertainty, I would rather prepare myself completely than going in blind.
Yeah. And like we were saying, you're linked to your baby.
Yes.
And so the same physiological, metabolic, blood work that we were talking about that improves in you, those same changes happen in your baby because the baby is connected to you with the same blood supply.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people forget that exercise helps reduce the risk of all of those things in your baby as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've written for this is that it actually improves your muscle endurance.
Yeah.
Right?
So
the more you
needed for
strengthen your
birth.
body, people forget that it's not actually just about the muscles that help you have the contractions and go through labor, but all the rest of your body are the supporting muscles. And so think about if you're wanting to be in specific birth positions, can you hold yourself on your hands and your knees for a long time?
Yeah,
Because you might be able to do it you might do it right now and be like, oh yeah, it's easy. But can you do that for hours? Because you forget how long labor can be. And so your legs, your glutes, your arms, if you're holding hands and knees, your arm muscles will get tired. And so that's where by doing all of those other exercises, number one, it's going to make you feel good in the moment because it's going to reduce the body aches and pains. But in terms of how this links to your labor, it's going to strengthen the rest of your supporting tissues and muscles to be able to hold those labor positions and go through all of those contractions you'll be having.
Yeah, such a good point. And going off that point, I just like to remind women as well is to have your body release and open up and allow your baby to start coming through the birth canal. You need to release the hormone oxytocin, and that hormone is the feel-good hormone. And I can't imagine being in a position that I can't hold and feeling like I'm in a really good mood to release oxytocin. I'm thinking, as I'm training, I'm going, okay, I want to make sure that I'm strong enough to hold these positions that I really wish to be in birth, that I don't even have to think about it. So I can just focus on getting in the mindset of birth and preparing my body so I don't have to worry about the stress of, oh no, I can't even hold this position here. That stress is going to reduce the chances of oxytocin being released, and therefore your birth is going to be long. So it's little things like that some women don't think about, that if you can just prepare yourself in these 9 months now, that day can be a really, really great day. And of course, certain things happen. There is so much uncertainty around birth, but if you can give yourself the best possible options already going in, why wouldn't you? Another thing is increasing stamina. So like we're saying, so you can have that upright position, change positions, and just move for prolonged periods of time. But also what I mentioned before is the breathing. Breathing is so important in birth, and it allows you to work through those contractions. I know even for myself, something that's really helped me overcome my fear of blood tests is I tell Janos that when I'm going through a blood test, I know that usually in 3 deep breaths, the blood test is over. So I take 3 long, deep breaths and just focus on those. And then I'm like, oh, it's done. And it's such a good mental connection for me now that I really don't fear. I'm like, I can survive 3 breaths of pain. So for birth, for example, if you can go through 60 seconds of a contraction and practice your breathing already in strength training, you're ready to go. We've actually had a friend who, and this is nothing against her, but it was funny when she gave birth, she actually popped all the blood vessels in her eyes because she forgot to breathe through the pushing part.
She looked a little bit like a demon.
Kind of like Darth Maul. Yeah. However, fantastic, successful birth. She did incredible. However, she forgot to breathe in that part. I'm pretty sure that's the story. And all I remember from seeing her eyes, I was like, got to remember to breathe. So whenever I'm training, I'm like, breathe, 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 breathe through every single rep. Make sure I'm bracing my core properly, protect my child, hug the baby with my stomach. There are certain cues now that I'm telling myself through each exercise that I never used to tell myself pre-pregnancy. It's a different type of training, but this is what we teach you. And again, all of this is preparing me mentally for labor.
What about postpartum?
Yeah, this is a good one.
What about afterbirth, if people don't know what that word means?
Postpartum is obviously post-birth. Now, people forget that, like, we all prepare for the baby to be here. We get all their onesies, we get all the things, the nursery set up. A lot of women forget to prepare for their recovery after birth. And I think it's like, women always tell me who have given birth, they're like, it's like running 50 marathons, but not resting after, because then you're looking after a human and you're trying to recover from it as well. I think it's so incredible what women are capable of doing. And as I'm training now, I'm thinking, okay, how do I support myself better for that postpartum recovery? So I've loved clients of mine who have gone in their second pregnancy and actually trained through it in comparison to their first pregnancy, because they've told me, wow, my postpartum recovery was so much better. One of the postpartum things that a lot of women stress about is the ab separation. And this is something that you actually can't reduce the chances. You can reduce how big the separation in your linea alba, like the ligament between, actually stretches, but you can't actually reduce it. It's going to happen. Your body has to stretch.
Yeah, well, you're trying to pop out a baby.
Well, yeah, your body has to stretch.
Yeah, you can do all the training you want to strengthen your core and those types of things, but what we're talking about is that the ab separation that some people get postpartum.
It's very
from
normal.
Giving birth. And yeah, that's what we like to tell people, is that it's normal because it's how your body prepared to make space to push the baby out.
However, the stronger your core is in pregnancy and doing the proper core exercises as well that are in the program, the better that separation comes back together and quicker post-birth, which is going to help. Your core is such a central area in your body that dictates how all your muscles connect and how you do certain movements. So if you're picking up your child constantly and you have a weak core, it's going to start hurting your back. Like, so many things impact from your core. So if you can have a strong core throughout your pregnancy, postpartum is going to be so much more beneficial for you as well.
And like we were saying before, there's no wrong time to start exercise.
Yeah.
But the best time to do it is well in advance, so that your body is already strong and ready.
Yeah.
Because if you've been deadlifting throughout your pregnancy, if you've been strengthening all your back muscles, your lower back, your glutes, all of those muscles, then when you're now having this baby and you're constantly lifting them up from the cot, putting them back down, putting them on the floor, lifting them up, like, people can strain their back. They can hurt their lower back.
Yeah.
They can do these things because they're just weak. Whereas anyone who is stronger, the stronger you are, the more resilient you are, quite simply, the less risk of injury you have.
100%.
And also, like, when we're talking about, labor, you've just gone through this massive event, like physical event you've had. It makes sense that the stronger you are, the quicker you recover.
Yeah.
So it's like fit people versus unfit people. When you work out, you might have done the exact same workout, 2 people, but the fit person, they barely get any soreness after the workout. They're ready to go again. But somebody who never runs a marathon, they might take a week or 2 weeks to fully recover, and they're barely being able to walk, all of that.
Yeah.
And so it's the exact same thing with birth. If you're not strong, if you haven't prepared your body, you're going to have a longer recovery than if you did prepare your body, because you would be fitter and stronger.
Yeah, that's a great point. And another, one last point I want to say about postpartum benefits is, if you train throughout pregnancy and have that discipline, I can guarantee you have built the healthiest habits to take you into the postpartum experience. I know for myself, I'm mentally already preparing myself just in case for those hormonal drops. I'm already preparing myself for the physical demands and changes that my body is going to go through. But I know for myself that strength training is something that mentally makes me feel so empowered, so strong mentally, and it's just the best part of my day. And I know that I would want to get back to that as soon as possible postpartum. So if I'm doing that now, I know that I'm already giving myself the best chances, because I've built those habits over the last 9 months. What's 6 weeks of relaxing going to do, recovering? And then I'll get right back into it, not to look a certain way, but to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about a few weeks ago, I did a podcast on the effects of exercise on your stress hormones and your happy hormones. And so that's a massive thing postpartum is you may have heard of postpartum depression. And so it's nothing about you not wanting the baby or anything like that, but it's actually a hormonal drop that happens often because of the lack of sleep that you're having, but also your hormones are changing after you've just given birth.
Yes.
And so that's where exercising, what it does is exercise reduces all of your stress hormones. And when you exercise and flex your muscles, it increases all of the happy hormones to help you feel happier and have less stress, less depression. So listen to that podcast if you want to learn more about that, because that applies for pregnancy as well. And that's why it's so important to, number one, train to prepare your body for pregnancy. And then it's also important too for as soon as you've got exercise clearance to start training after pregnancy to help with that postpartum depression.
It's funny, my sister, who's had 5 incredible children and incredible births, she keeps warning me. She's like, I'll be around on day 3. I go, what do you mean? She's like, trust me, I'll be there. Don't you worry. And I'll bring your favorite foods. And she keeps telling me about, the possibility of a hormonal drop, and there's nothing to be ashamed about that. And I keep reminding myself, I'm like, day 3, I'm just going to put Taylor Swift on and keep dancing to like reduce any of the chances. I'm like, keep moving, and depression can't hit a moving target. Now that we've talked about the benefits, I thought we'd actually discuss quickly the program. Like why, who's it for? What's it involve? Why you should even train throughout pregnancy? Let's just get into it. So we've built this program trimester by trimester workout. So we've got all different phases through each trimester to take you safely through each phase that you're going through as your baby's growing, but also as you're changing. So you would notice that supersets change. You would notice that rest breaks change. You would notice that certain exercises evolve as you get bigger. You would notice even in the videos that we've refilmed that we will tell you when to start widening your stance to allow your belly to have room to do certain exercises. Like there's so many changes and modifications we'll make along the way, and certain things to look out for as well if you're feeling them, and when to tell your coach. So there's guidance in every step. And I think that's a really important thing that we wanted to make sure that this program wasn't just a, hey, here's the program, do it for 9 months, exact same. It's like, no, like you're at week 22 now, you're now going to move into this phase.
Yeah. And then also just advice about like how much weight to lift.
Yeah.
How to know what's too heavy, what's too light.
Yep.
And remember, this is all individual stuff as well. And that's why you've got us as your coaches as well, helping you, lead you through and guide you through this process.
100%.
To adapt this program to where you're at as well.
Yep.
So it's not just like it's a stock standard program that we've built that everyone will go through the exact same process.
Yep.
It will be tailored to how you're feeling, and you've got the advice of us in your back pocket
100%.
to help you through it too.
Yeah. And that's a big thing is the guidance from us as your coaches. So like, I am with a coach, sorry, I can't even speak. The clients that I'm currently coaching through pregnancy, their check-ins, for example, are so different to our normal standard clients. Like we're checking in on, has their doctors said certain things? Because every week changes in pregnancy. What certain symptoms have changed? Are they feeling a certain way? How are their energy levels? Have they been eating well? Because if they're not eating well, we know they're not going to have enough energy to be doing certain exercises. So we'll adapt for them. Like there's so many changes that go through pregnancy week by week. And that's why we make sure we are so on them to guide them through this. Because like I said before, it can be very demotivating due to fatigue. So we're here to help you through each season. Another thing as well is we teach you how to breathe and brace through each exercise with the guidance of, we've actually had a pre and postnatal physiotherapist come in, and she's working with us on this program, which is so exciting. Now, if you're on our program, she actually will be giving discounts to go see her for a pelvic floor assessment, which is so important in pregnancy. I'm about to go tomorrow for my first one. But also if you're interstate and you're not actually in our area, she also offers online as well assessments, which are really beneficial to teach you about your pelvic floor, how to actually do proper exercises to get ready for birth. She just assesses you in so many different ways about stretching, mobility, pelvic floor, etc. How to breathe, how to brace properly, things about like prolapse, etc. that you may not know about. She will teach you, and we've partnered up with her because we genuinely think she is an incredible physiotherapist, and we're actually going to get her on an episode in a few weeks just to discuss a few of those things as well.
Yeah. So I like to explain to people that this is where like we're slotting in as the exercise professionals specific to your pregnancy. So you've got your health professionals, you've got your obstetrician, you've got your doctor, you've got potentially your nurse, your midwife, those types of things. And we're the experts, not in the stuff that they will do, but specific to the exercise and how to adapt that to your pregnancy and every stage that you're going through.
Exactly.
And then we've got access to these other health professionals so that when people ask us questions, like they have access to us 24/7 throughout the week. So we always ask them, like, anytime you're feeling anything, ask us that question, because then if, number one, we'll probably know the answer, but if we don't know the answer, then we'll reach out to the relevant health professionals in our connections to be able to get those answers for you and then give you that answer within 24 hours.
100%. Another thing as well that a lot of women fear in training in pregnancy is training their core.
Yeah.
And we have trimester specific core workouts that you can do in your pregnancy that I've been doing 2 to 3 times a week, which has been incredible for my core in this pregnancy so far. And I feel so safe to do it because I know there was a lot of fear, even for myself before I even fell pregnant. I was like, wait a second, I'm a professional and I still don't know about this. So I made sure I learned about them. I made sure I got the advice from our physiotherapist, So it's really important that those are in there, that you know that. And the biggest thing about this program is we don't want you to have to wing it. Like I mentioned before, we don't want you to have to come into your program and train throughout pregnancy and go, I really hope baby's okay. Did I just do that wrong? You should never feel that. And we are here to guide you through those fears.
Yeah, well, really, this is like the biggest time that you want to invest money into your health and your fitness. Like, it's the time when you're preparing your body for the biggest physical event you're about to have in your life.
Yes.
And so why would you want to just wing it? Why wouldn't you want to do it with health professionals telling you what to do? And, you know, a lot of people will do that. They'll see the health professionals, but then they won't get any exercise professionals and they'll just kind of wing the exercise. And so they're not really knowing. And it's kind of like a marathon, right? You can just go for runs. You can just do what you think is going to help, and it will help a little bit. But if you get a specific program built for you specifically for that marathon, you're going to perform better. And it's 100%. The exact same thing with your pregnancy.
Yeah, well, I feel like because people look at it and go, oh, it's just 9 months. Like, I'll just chill and get back into it later. You're going to get busier with a child. If you haven't built the habits now, you're going to have a child, probably go again after that if you're blessed to do so. And then it'll be years, and then you wonder why you're not fit and healthy, and you wonder how all this happened. It's because what is the saying? You overestimate what you can do in a short period of time, but you underestimate what you can do in a long period of time. Is that right? And I think 9 months is a good chunk of time that you can develop some incredible habits. You can prepare yourself physically for the biggest demands your body's going to go through. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Now, this program is for women who want to stay active and fit throughout pregnancy and stay strong. Women who want to train but feel fearful in how to train, so they want guidance. But it's also for women who want to prep for birth and also postpartum.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I know myself, like I was saying before, I love the version of me that is strong, fit, and healthy, because training for me is the catalyst and the domino effect to all my other healthy habits. If I train, I then nourish my body really well. I then feel mentally great to be a better person. It's like this flow and effect of everything that training does for me. As soon as I leave the gym, I never feel like coming in here, especially now. But as soon as I finish that session, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's all I needed. And then I can go back and do my work better. I can be a better wife. I can be a better mum already to my child. I am building the discipline that I want to teach our children one day. I want to teach our child that I'm growing now that, you know, even when it's hard, you need to show up not just for motivation, but you need to be disciplined to do things if you want to achieve great results. Everything I'm doing now is developing all of that. Like, my child's going to come out, hopefully before it walks, doing crunches, doing chin-ups. Like, that's my dream. And it's just like, I just think if I can develop all this now, which I'm doing, of course our child's going to be impacted by everything they're growing up and seeing.
Yeah, and they deserve to have a good mum.
Yeah.
They deserve to have you at your best, not at your worst.
Yes.
Like, again, you can go into a marathon unprepared, but it's not the wisest way to do it. No. And so birth is the exact same. Like, you can have a birth without exercising, without doing anything, but you'll have a better time going through your birth and a better time postpartum if you do strength train and exercise because of all the benefits that we've just gone through.
No, I agree. Now, there are so many questions you may have. Please talk to us about them. Also, make sure you're following Pro Baby Lifestyle on Instagram. We've just reached 400 followers today, which is so exciting in 2 weeks. Very proud of that. And that's where we're going to be sharing a lot of our education around training. But if you actually want to be guided through your pregnancy currently, depending on where you're at, does not matter. Or if you're planning to be pregnant in the future, there is no better time to start than now. Like I was saying, you can pre-train to prepare yourself for getting ready to go through the physical demands of pregnancy before you even think about falling pregnant. That I remember when working with our OB after our miscarriage, he was saying you want to be in the best physical shape and mental shape to allow your body to feel relaxed enough to fall pregnant. And I was like, well, training does that for me. And we fell pregnant, which was so incredible. Like I honestly, when we fell pregnant, I've never felt in the best shape that I've ever felt in that moment. Now, if you would like to join our program, which we hope you do, and be guided from us in the Pro Baby way, the link is in our show notes, or you can go to probodylifestyle.com/apply. And what's going to happen is you're going to fill out an inquiry form based on pregnancy. We want to understand you, where you're currently at in your pregnancy, what your fears are, what your goals are, etc. We'll jump on a call with you because we believe that this is a very personal journey, and we want to make sure that we feel connected with you. We feel like you're a part of our Pro Body family or Pro Baby family. And we want to make sure on that call that we know exactly what your fears and your experience are, so we can debunk those completely straight away. We also want to know what week of pregnancy you're at, because like I said before, every week is specific to this program and you adapt as you move along. So we want to make sure that you're starting at the right foot and you're starting with us.
Yeah. And again, don't feel like, oh, I've already missed the boat. Like I'm already in trimester 2, or maybe I'm in trimester 3. Like I can't start now. Because as we were talking about, no matter when you start, even within 1 week of exercise, immediately your body within a week starts to feel the benefits of the exercise, and it starts to strengthen your body. So don't feel like you're too late to jump on board, because our programs, that we don't lock you into like long-term contracts or anything like that, because we know that pregnancy, you can't plan for it. Like there's things that happen, right?
Of course.
So yeah, you're not locked in. So even if you're only a few weeks out and you're like, oh, but I'm about to give birth very soon, don't worry. Like we've got you. We'll help meet you where you are and start to strengthen you from there, and create a bit of a roadmap from where you are to where you want to be, which is giving birth. And then most importantly, that recovery time frame afterwards.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, please let us know. DM us on Instagram or comment down below.
Yeah.
And we hope you live not the Pro Body lifestyle.
No.
The Pro Baby lifestyle.